dairy goat eating purchased feed and hay costs $600 to $900 a year before a single quart of milk is counted. These 7 plants grow back every season without replanting, without irrigation beyond rainfall. 3 of them fix their own nitrogen. 1 of them doubles as a dewormer. None of them covers all 7. What each one costs to establish. This, what each one call a feed tail store, this what each one is to establish. And why goats are different from every other animal on this list. A chicken needs protein and energy in a relatively simple ratio. A goat needs the same, but it also needs browse, the woody stems, bark, and shrubby plant matter that a ruminant digestive system was built to process, and that grass and hay alone do not provide. A goat on flat pasture with nothing to browse will meet its caloric needs, but will still pace fence lines, looking for the variation its gut was designed to handle. That browsing behavior is not a management problem. It is the leverage point that makes this entire list possible. Every plant here was selected because goats will seek it out, and eat it without being trained to, because it grows back after being grazed or browsed without replanting, and because the nutritional return justifies the small one-time cost of establishment. Together, these 7 plants do not just reduce purchased feed. They match what a goat's digestive system was designed to process in the first place. Plant 1, comfrey is the starting point for any goat forage system built for the long term. Crude protein runs 23 to 30% higher than most commercial hay and competitive with alfalfa at a fraction of the cost. A single established plant produces 4 to 8 cuts per season, regrows from the root within 2 to 3 weeks of cutting, and continues producing from the same planting for over 20 years without being replanted. The variety matters. Bocking 14 is a sterile hybrid. It does not set viable seed and will not spread across property the way common comfrey does. That distinction is not minor. Common comfrey grown from root fragments will naturalize aggressively into garden beds, fence lines, and pasture margins and is nearly impossible to eradicate once established. Bocking 14 stays exactly where it is planted. Establishment cost. Root crowns run $2 to $5 each, and a planting of 10 to 15 crowns is sufficient to begin supplementing a small herd. By year 2, those crowns have expanded enough to produce meaningful cut volume. By year 3, a well-maintained planting covers a significant portion of a small herd's green forage needs through the growing season without any irrigation or fertilizer input. The honest failure mode. Comfrey wilts fast after cutting, within a few hours in summer heat, and goats will eat it readily in that wilted state. Cutting and leaving it in the sun for a half day before feeding is not a problem. Cutting and leaving it piled in a corner for 2 days is. Feed it the same day it is cut, or dry it fully for storage. Plant 2. Mulberry trees grow faster than almost any other fodder tree available to a small farm, produce leaves with crude protein running 15 to 20%, and drop fruit the goats clean up from the ground through midsummer. The leaves can be browsed directly from low branches if the tree is kept coppiced. Cut back regularly to produce new growth within reach of the herd rather than allowed to grow into a canopy too high to access. That coppicing behavior is the core management practice. A mulberry cut back to a 3 to 4 foot framework each spring will push dense, leafy regrowth through the growing season, allowing repeated browsing or hand harvesting from the same tree for decades. A single established mulberry tree can produce 20 to 40 pounds of leaves per season once at full juvenile vigor, plus the fruit drop, which carries a secondary benefit of drawing insects that add incidental protein to any mixed poultry flock ranging the same ground. Establishment cost is a one-time purchase of a bare root or potted tree, typically $15 to $30, or propagated free from stem cuttings of an existing tree. Mulberry roots from cuttings more reliably than almost any other woody species. A 6-inch hardwood cutting stuck in moist soil in early spring has a high success rate without rooting hormone. The one management note: mulberry planted near fences will eventually overtop and damage them if allowed to grow uncoppiced. Keep a pruning schedule, not because the tree needs to produce, but because the property does. Plant 3. Black-eyed peas, cowpeas. Cowpeas belong on every small farm growing anything for goats, for 2 reasons that operate independently of each other. The first is protein. The seeds carry 23 to 25% crude protein and store without refrigeration for 12 to 24 months, making them the only annual on this list that also produces a storable winter feed. The second is soil. Cowpeas fix 8,120 pounds of nitrogen per acre, effectively fertilizing whatever is planted in that ground the following season without a dollar spent on synthetic inputs. They grow in poor soil that would stall most other crops. They tolerate drought conditions that kill corn and most grasses. They establish and begin producing pods in 60 to 70 days from seed, making them the fastest protein crop on this list from planting to harvest. Goats will eat the entire plant, leaves, stems, pods, and seeds, and a small planting in an otherwise unproductive corner of a property can produce enough material to meaningfully supplement a small herd through summer. Seeds cost $2 to $5 per pound, and 50 square feet of planting space is enough to evaluate the system without committing more ground to it than the property allows. The one caution with cowpeas is the harvest timing for seed storage. Pods must be allowed to dry fully on the vine before harvest, or stored seeds will mold. Harvesting while still green produces vine and leaf forage. Harvesting after the pod has gone tan and dry produces storable seed. Both outcomes are useful. The timing determines which one the harvest produces. Plant 4. Fodder kale fills a gap that almost no other plant on this list covers. The cold months between October and April in most temperate climates, when comfrey has died back for the winter, cowpeas have been harvested and mulberry has dropped its leaves. Planted in July from seed, fodder kale reaches grazable size by October and stays in place through winter in zones 6 and above, surviving hard frosts that kill most other standing green crops. Crude protein runs 15 to 18% in vegetative kale, ahead of most hay and competitive with lower quality alfalfa. The leaves sweeten after frost. The plant converts starches to sugars as temperatures drop, which increases palatability at exactly the point in the year when a herd is eating the least interesting forage otherwise available. Goats can be grazed directly into a kale planting, allowed to strip the lower leaves, and then moved out before the plant is taken past the point of recovery, or the leaves can be hand harvested and fed in a trough. Strip grazing produces better regrowth and extends the planting's useful life through more of the winter. Seed cost is under $5 for enough to plant a modest strip. Kale does not require the same soil preparation as a vegetable garden crop. It germinates in rough-tilled ground and does not need irrigation beyond rainfall in most summer planting windows. Plant 5. Willow belongs on this list because it grows where almost nothing else useful will. Wet, low-lying ground that floods seasonally, stream edges, boggy corners of a property that cannot be grazed, mowed, or planted with anything that requires dry feet. That ground left untouched grows nothing the herd can use. Planted with willow, it becomes a browse source that coppices indefinitely and requires no maintenance beyond periodic cutting. Crude protein in willow browse runs 8 to 12%, lower than comfrey or cowpeas, but the more significant value is medicinal rather than nutritional. Willow bark and young stems carry salicin, a compound the goat's digestive system metabolizes similarly to aspirin, and condense tannins that have documented antiparasitic properties. A herd with willow browse access self-medicates to some degree, which does not replace a parasite management protocol but meaningfully complements one. Establishment is nearly free. Willow roots from hardwood cuttings at very high rates, drive a 1-inch diameter, 18-inch cutting into moist ground in early spring, and it will generally root and push new growth within weeks. The only real cost is the initial cutting, typically obtained for nothing from an existing willow on the property or a neighbor's. The management rule: coppice every 2 to 3 years by cutting back to the main stem. This keeps browse within reach of the herd and keeps the plant in its most productive juvenile growth stage rather than allowing it to grow into a full tree that the goats can no longer access. Plant 6, Jerusalem artichoke. Jerusalem artichoke is a native North American perennial that produces dense, starchy tubers through the growing season, reaches 6 to 10 feet in height, and then goes dormant through winter while the tubers remain in the ground. Accessible to hogs by rooting, and to goats by digging with their own hooves in soft ground. Goats will self-harvest tubers in fall and winter when other forage is limited, pulling the nutrition directly from the ground without any labor from the keeper. Crude protein in the tuber runs 15 to 20% on a dry matter basis, and the aerial portions, stems and leaves, are also edible at lower protein levels through summer. A single planting produces a permanent colony. The tubers spread by root and return every year without replanting, expanding their footprint across available ground each season. That spreading behavior is the reason the one management rule for this plant is non-negotiable. Plant at paddock edges and fence lines, not in the center of a pasture or garden. A Jerusalem artichoke patch planted in open ground will spread beyond its original boundaries within 2 to 3 seasons and cannot be eradicated without sustained effort. At a fence line, the fence contains the spread on one side. At a paddock edge, the herd manages the other side through browsing pressure, established from tuber pieces. Any grocery store sunchoke tuber can be planted in early spring. Cost is typically under $10 for enough planting stock to start a productive colony. Plant 7. Chicory chicory is the deepest rooting plant on this list, with a taproot that can reach 5 to 6 feet into the soil profile, far below where grass roots and most other forage plants operate. That depth gives it access to calcium, magnesium, and trace minerals that surface grazing animals on grass-only pasture cannot reach, which is the reason it shows up consistently in mineral forage mixes and why USDA-affiliated research has documented its role in reducing internal parasite loads in small ruminants. Crude protein runs 15 to 22% depending on the growth stage, highest in young vegetative leaves, lower as the plant moves toward flowering. Goats will graze chicory selectively, often choosing it over grass in a mixed sward, which is not just preference. It is the animal selecting for a mineral profile that grass does not provide. It is a perennial that self-seeds reliably, meaning a modest initial planting expands into a larger stand over multiple seasons without additional seed cost. Establishment runs $2 to $4 per quarter pound of seed, enough to overseed a small paddock strip. It tolerates drought and poor soil better than most high-protein forages and does not require irrigation in temperate climates once established. The single management note: chicory's anti-parasitic value is highest when it makes up roughly 20 to 30% of total diet intake, not when fed as the sole forage. It is a complement to a rotation, not a replacement for one. The 3 plants that will kill a goat. This list is not complete without naming the 3 plants found most commonly on small properties that are genuinely toxic to goats. Knowing what to grow is only half the job. Knowing what to clear before the herd goes in is the other half. Rhododendron and azalea are the most dangerous of the 3. Both are common landscape plantings across much of the eastern United States. Both are extremely toxic to goats in small quantities, and both are evergreen. The leaves are present and palatable year-round, not just during one season. A goat browsing into a rhododendron hedge can ingest a lethal dose before the keeper notices anything wrong. Clear any rhododendron or azalea from within reach of a paddock before the herd goes in, not after the first incident. Wild cherry presents the same toxicity from a different mechanism. The leaves release hydrogen cyanide when wilted. Standing leaves on a living tree are lower risk. Leaves that have fallen after a storm or hard frost and are sitting wilted on the ground are acutely dangerous and have caused documented losses in goat herds within hours of exposure. Wild cherry is common across most of the eastern and central United States. Know what it looks like and check paddock margins after any wind event or frost. The general rule: if a plant is unfamiliar and is growing within reach of the herd, identify it before the herd goes in. Goats will browse into unfamiliar plants. That curiosity is not self-limiting the way it sometimes is in other species. The full Mathey single adult dairy doe on purchased feed and hay costs $600 to $900 per year in direct inputs. That number is the baseline this system is built to reduce. None of the 7 plants here requires annual purchase after establishment. Comfrey regrows for 20 plus years. Mulberry persists for decades. Cowpeas are direct seeded from saved seed season to season at a cost of under $5 annually. Fodder kale is seeded each July from a $2 to $3 packet. Willow coppices indefinitely. Jerusalem artichoke and chicory are both perennials that self-perpetuate without replanting. Total establishment cost for all 7 plants across a small property with 2 to 3 goats, under $200, almost entirely concentrated in the comfrey root crowns, a mulberry tree, and the first season's seed purchases. By year 2, none of that cost repeats. Realistic feed cost reduction from year 2 onward, running all 7 plants as a system alongside hay rather than instead of it, 50 to 70%. That range accounts for a herd that still needs mineral supplementation and some stored hay through deep winter. No forage system in a temperate climate eliminates hay entirely for a ruminant herd, and this one does not claim to. What it does is make the periods when hay and purchased grain are necessary shorter, smaller in volume, and cheaper per head than running on purchased inputs alone. A $600 annual feed bill, reduced by 60%, is $360 saved per animal per year from plants that grow back without being replanted.